I don't wanna hear any more small talk. Off that short pier, take a long walk. My style ain't free cause it ain't off top. I'm at your throat, go get a cough drop. I don't wanna hear any more small talk. Off that short pier, take a long walk. My style ain't free cause it ain't off top. I'm at your throat, go get a cough drop. It's kush. I love me too much and your brain turn to mush. Fall flat on your tush. You couldn't handle the product I push. I guess I'm just used to it, I just do it. Like Nike swoosh, none of that Reggie Bush cause I'm top shelf. I ain't got...
What's that? Playoffs? Don't talk about it. Playoffs? You kidding me? Playoffs? I just hope we can win a game.
And welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. We are back again in the midst of another off season that we are not involved in. So you know what? You're going to get what you're going to get. You understand? But in the meantime, people, thank you for being with us. Thank you for being with us. We do want to make sure that we get more in here. So we're just going to give it about a minute or two, and then we're going to get started. In the meantime, make sure that you're commenting, liking, putting hearts on it. Make sure that you're doing all that in the chat. Let us know where you're coming from. And, yeah, if you have any questions, let us know because we're going to be answering stuff live on here. So, yeah, absolutely in the meantime. But in the meantime, guys, how's everything going this evening?
Going pretty good. It's a rainy day here.
Yeah. Yes, it's trash. This is a lot of trash weather going on. We had a little bit of snow earlier, and then it wasn't snow, and then it seemed like it was going to rain. But yeah, trash weather all around.
It's kind of Will Levis over here.
No, oh God, you mean mediocre? it's real mediocre over there. That's what you're trying to say.
Don't be surprised, man, if we do get this guy and we got to come back and retrace what we said about him. I don't want us to be in some pain later on.
I would love for that to be the scenario, but I think it'll be more of a scenario where if for some reason we do get him, then we're going to sit there and just be like, why the hell did we do that when all the signs were there that wasn't going to be a good thing?
I mean, they're pushing this narrative that we could get Saturday and Levis, so that's a bad combination in the first place. But I guess I just gotta keep my mind open and not frustrated throughout this process.
That's like going to Dollar Tree and asking for a car engine. Like it's awful. It is.
What?
No, absolutely not.
I feel like that.
We have our first comment from somebody who apparently is on shrooms. He says, Matt Briggs says, "Let's go Texans," with a lot of N's and a lot of S's.
I feel like I want to cry like the linebacker from the Bengals.
Leave Osai alone. Leave that man alone. And we're gonna talk a little bit about that too, because Jermaine Pratt is not getting off the hook. Like he really thought that he had something when he was sitting there screaming in the hallway about what he did, and then meanwhile, Mans was missing tackles all game. Like, sir, you wouldn't even have been in that position if you would have actually made a tackle after a play didn't go for a first down that you had to sit there and watch because you were boo boo.
Right.
So we're I'm not for the old side slander. Like, he messed up. I think he's either a rookie this year or he's a second-year player. Meanwhile, Jermaine Pratt has been around for how long, and we just now figured out his name was Jermaine Pratt because he was yelling in a hallway.
Yeah, he did apologize though.
Oh, as he should. But we'll talk more about that in a second. So, in the meantime, guys, welcome back to the You Don't Know JAC podcast, where we'll be covering all things Colts. And you know what? Because it's playoffs, we're going to sprinkle in some game time stuff here and there. So yeah, we'll make sure that we cover all of that. But in the meantime, let's just go ahead and get the guys introduced. We have with us the man who says that he's done for the season with the NBA. He was done for the season with the Colts. As far as I'm concerned, just call him done for the season at this point. We have with us Josh Senior, everybody.
I was never done with the Colts. I was done with the Yankees. I was done with the Lakers. I was never done with the Colts.
You sure?
I was never done with the Colts. I said I want to watch the last two games.
Oh no. Matter of fact, no. Matter of fact, you checked out.
Yes, the last two games I checked out.
You checked out. Yes.
Yes.
He's just like,
it was pointless to watch it, and it was like I was rooting for a win or a loss, or it was no point for me to watch it. Because when I say, "Hey, let's win," you're like, "What's the point of winning when we're trying to get a top pick?" So it wasn't me for me to watch it.
Okay. All right, that's fair. And then we have with us the man that continuously, and I don't know why, because he's a small guy, but he continuously makes enemies, whether they're of the Colts fan base or otherwise. We have with us Austin Cook, everybody.
What's up? I'm not looking.
You're not getting off the hook. You're not getting off the hook, Chris. You got enemies too.
What enemies do I have?
Both you guys got enemies. We're not gonna go in depth of why you guys are enemies, because every time I check into a chat, you guys are getting, killed. No, you're not getting killed. There's always a debate of something, and so. Yeah.
Well, I mean, well, you know what? We'll get into that. We'll get into that. But we have Austin Cook with us, everybody.
Yeah. What's up? I'm Austin.
Yeah, and I'm Chris Jackson. So now, getting to what you said.
Yes.
So the thing is, let me just let's premise this first with this is a really just like this isn't the best time of year, right? Not only did we underperform, but we underperformed severely to the point now where it's just like we're in a position to pick a quarterback, and the thing is, there's really no clear like absolute yes, this is exactly what's going to happen. Like, we're literally in the top 5 when there's teams that could bounce up ahead of us and then go get a quarterback. On top of that, they're mock drafting to us a guy that we've seen underperform, and we're just like, how is CJ Stroud going to go to number 9 and then we end up picking Will Levis? Like, it doesn't make sense. And so it's a cause for a lot of dissension amongst the fans because of the fact that this is probably the first time that we are in the running for a quarterback, and we don't. And the thing is, it's just like, it's not a generational quarterback like you would call it. Like, it's
also, we're not drafting first overall to get our quarterback. We normally are.
Yeah. And Matt says, "Yeah, you ignorant." Yes.
Yeah.
So yeah. And then And then Tez says, "What's up, fellas? What's up, Tez? What's going on?
What
Glad
up?
you're with us. Glad you're with us." But the thing that we're seeing now is that since people are very uncertain about what's going to happen regarding these quarterbacks, because people knew that Peyton Manning was going to be fantastic.
Right,
People knew that Andrew Luck was going to be fantastic. With these
right.
quarterbacks, you know that they're good. They have the potential to be great, but you don't know whether or not they're just home runs, right?
Hmm.
So the thing is now, Bryce Young, he could potentially be fantastic. CJ Stroud could potentially be fantastic. Everybody has the potential to be great or have a much higher ceiling, but the thing is, as it goes right now, we don't know.
Mhm.
And that's the reason why a lot of us are fighting. There's a lot of infighting. I mean, like I said, it's just like it's not going to change how I feel about people. It's just like, will I your opinion won't make me hate you as a person, right? But the thing
Right.
is, it's just like because of how things have gone, 9-8 left a bad taste in your mouth. 4-12-1 is an even worse taste. And then now everybody is just like, no, we need to do this. It's just like if it was that simple, then we would have done that shit already. And then
Everybody wants everybody wants to have a an all-star off season, and
oh yeah.
sometimes it's not likely to have.
Yeah, exactly. And not just that, but you're also talking about the fact that now people will be able to go back and say, "Oh, well, if we would have done this instead of this," it's just like, "Okay, that sounds great, but I mean, at the end of the day, what does that do about the situation now? Because all that's going to do is just help with the resentment. That's going to help with you just going and saying, "Oh yeah, well, we need to do this," because it supports your point. It's dumb. Like it's literally just the same talking points, the same dumb points that we've been talking about literally all year or for the last couple years. Like we didn't know what Justin Herbert was going to look like coming out of college, but the thing is now he looks like he's probably going to be another Philip Rivers where he's going to be good, possibly good during the regular season, maybe get to the postseason, and then there's going to be nothing else that happens after that. The same thing is happening with Josh Allen. Whether we
Everybody wants to. Everybody wants. Everybody looking at other teams. I mean, we do too. It's human. We love football. We
Yeah,
love sports,
absolutely.
and we look at the Bengals. How they constructed. We say, okay, why we can have a team like that? Why we can have a quarterback like that? This team has to be built from the ground up. We thought we had that 6 years ago. Now we have to. It looks like we have to do it again,
Yeah,
starting with the quarterback, head coaching, and as we all see, coaching does matter. I know we've been avoiding this topic for weeks now, but coaching does matter. I mean, look at Daniel Jones. I mentioned that I think the last 2 weeks. It matters. Now the guy could get 20 million a year, 30. I think
yeah.
it's 30. I think,
I think yeah, yeah. I think it's like 20 to 30, somewhere in between that range.
but it does matter. I mean, coaching. That's why I'm saying we have to absolutely get our coach, and then months from now, get our quarterback.
Yeah, yeah. And the thing is, it's there's a lot of possibilities. I know it's just like Austin. He whenever he gets in there, it's just like it's not even like supporting a point. But the thing is, it's just like a lot of times I know that Austin understands like where we're coming from because for me, I don't want to talk about the past. I don't want to talk about any of it because the thing is, if we want to talk about the past, then we could talk about the fact it's just like, okay, well, you know what? If we didn't take Andrew Luck, so or somebody
Hmm.
said, oh yeah, well, we should have took Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson didn't check off any of the boxes that Andrew Luck nor RG3 did. So I mean, it wasn't going to happen that way. We went through that 2 and
Right.
14 year, or matter of fact, if you go ahead, if you really want to be real, you sit there and talk about what if the lockout never happened. If the lockout never happened, then Peyton might have been able to possibly get treatment for the neck and see exactly what he could have done, and then we would have had him for another year, and then Andrew Luck wouldn't even have been in the picture. And then maybe you delay the quarterback search for another like year or two.
Right.
But that's the problem that you're running into because there's too many what ifs. So the thing is, if you tell them to focus on now, then it's just like, okay, we need to find our head coach so that we can see about getting a game plan together. Because the great thing about it is that if you get a head coach now, you look at all the tape from all the college prospects, you'll see exactly what you want to set up as far as an offensive system. You'll be able to see exactly who fits the best in it, and then you'll be able to go from there. Because the thing is, it's just like the draft. The draft is, 3 months away. But the thing is, to get a head coach right now, like, and this is going into one of the other topics, but DeMeco Ryans went to Houston. Houston has the number 2 pick. Now, what they're saying is that DeMeco Ryans could potentially go ahead and say, you know what? Let's get a veteran QB. We'll bring over somebody from the 49ers, and then we'll be able to go and do what we need to do with the veteran QB. They're saying now that they might not even go QB.
The defense.
Yeah, you go defense, because right now it's just like, yeah, you can go QB, but then you have all the picks. But then, what happens if you trade that pick down and then you just continuously draft defense? They could potentially cover half their defense in this draft alone.
You're right about that, because if you got the Bears and you got the Texans trading now, we could be doomed.
Yeah,
possible.
Well, it could be, but once again, it's just like it all depends on who wants to be aggressive when going after a quarterback. And also, it's just like, what are the Bears looking at? Like right now, the Bears are completely silent. The only people that have been saying anything about Bears trade proposals are Bears fans. And they're usually ridiculous, but I've never seen them as ridiculous as they are with these trade proposals. Like it's dumb. Like there's a guy that I followed before, and he was just like, yeah, first round pick, DeForest Buckner, third round pick, and a second round next year. He just like, I like that trade. However, change that second next year to a first next year. It's just like, if you're getting DeForest Buckner, do you really believe that they're gonna? I'm like, you know what? I don't want to hear it.
They're not getting 2 firsts from us.
No, absolutely not. So the thing is, right now, like I said, everything is this is the smoke screen season. This is when teams start talking and you don't know what's real and what's fake, because you don't know exactly what the plan is. Now, the thing is with Texans now, it becomes a little bit more realistic, because now you'll see that if DeMeco Ryans comes in, he's going to kind of cater his team and pick his team. He's a defensive-minded coach. So, I'm going to say with that, and I'll say this as an early prediction, I'm going to see that they're going to go heavy on defense, and then also you're going to see a lot more running out of them too. But that's just what I'm believing, because like I said, defensive coaches, generally you're going to see that there's a lot more running involved than there is passing, which is the reason why going after a young QB now is just like might not be in their future. But one team that doesn't have a young QB in their future is Denver Broncos, even though they did just get Sean Payton today. How much does that change? And I'm going to start with you, Austin. How much does that change exactly how that offense or how that team looks from this year to next year, possibly, with Sean Payton now being the head coach?
Yeah, so Sean Payton's a good coach. He's been a good coach for a while. So maybe he can turn Russell Wilson's career back to where it was, because this year was just kind of bad. It, like we've said before, coaching matters, and it could have been their head coach. And, I'd like to see Russell Wilson do better and get back to where he was.
Yeah.
So it could happen. They might. They have a solid offense and a great defense, so they could be a great team next year under Sean Payton.
Yeah.
But they could also do the same thing on offense next year that they did this year. It's hard to tell right now.
Yeah, it is hard to tell, because we're looking at a team that underperformed. Like, I think we all owe the Chiefs an apology, because we all said that AFC West was going to be the most competitive division and that one was going to be a juggernaut. And the only people that were doing the fighting were the Chargers, the Raiders and the Broncos for who was not going to be last in the division last year. So, I mean,
They were
it
bad.
was a massive underperformance, but the compensation for it though, because yeah, you're getting a great head coach, but now they lost the first round pick. So there's no
Hmm.
first round pick this year. I think they said that it's a first round pick this year, and then it's like a second or third, or a third round pick that could potentially be a second round pick, depending on how well Denver does next year. And I don't know
Yeah,
the length of the deal. I think what is the length of the deal? I think D'Amico Ryan's got 6 years, and then
I
and
only
then how
saw
much did
D'Amico
Peyton get?
Ryan's. I didn't see
Okay,
any
yeah.
more for Peyton.
Yeah, so that's the reason why. Like, if you're looking at whatever they're doing right now, it, the Broncos really, really, really look like a team that is trying to make up for last year because they didn't get Aaron Rodgers, so they ended up going with Russell Wilson, and they were hoping for more, but it just didn't happen. And now you have Seattle in perfect position to just go and revamp that team all together.
Right.
And then before we go any further, because we're going to start talking about more of the head coaches, just going to go to some of the comments. Tez says, I don't think we should trade up. If this was a year or two ago, then yes, I would trade up, but we're in a different place now. It's not just a QB away team anymore. People kill me to think that we're going to trade to number one just for Bryce Young, and damn sure not for Will Levis. Thank you. I think we should stay at 4 unless we're offered a lot of picks from Carolina or somewhere in the top 10. I would think about it, but ultimately taking Stroud at 4th overall and build around him. Okay, well, we can address that in a second. Denver
Well,
is really
I would never want to help Frank Wright.
oh, all right. It's like Denver is screwed if Peyton can't fix Russ. They were already low on draft capital, and now they're even worse. This is very true because I mean they've given up first round picks last year. They've given up first round picks this year, and they just gave up Bradley Chubb, which means that they're now looking at. I mean, they've lost an integral piece of the defense, and now you have to revamp the defense with less picks. So yeah. They said they will have to get rid of defensive stars just to get some draft capital back. They could be irrelevant until 2026 in the AFC West. Yeah, they've been pretty irrelevant over the last few years. So,
I mean, I
and
don't. I
then
mean, go ahead.
and then Ted says Callahan and CJ Stroud or Steichen and CJ Stroud. If we do trade down, then Eagles OC and Anthony Richardson. People think this guy is that far off when he's really not. If you watch film and watch last 6 games, you can see him improving with his mechanics and reading defenses better. Mind you, this is the Florida Gators where they didn't even have a solid number 2, let alone number 1 wide receiver, and has been making plays. If he can get you hired or fired, but I'm saying if we do trade down, Anthony Richardson is higher on my board than Will Levis. I don't understand. All right, go ahead, Josh, because you had a bunch to say. You're shaking your head vigorously.
Uh, did you guys watch RG3 when the same year that Angelo came out? The last couple of games he had with Baylor, he was on fire, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
But he wasn't really good the first half of that season. He was pretty bad, but he caught on fire the better part of the season. For him to get the second overall pick. This was what screams to me with Anthony Richardson. Not saying he don't have the potential. He's a raw talent. He could be good. I still see buzz written all over it. At first, I thought about that. I was like, the guy could be something to be, something to look at for us. But we don't need a project anymore. We need somebody that could be instant start and can play like Angelo did in 2012. Start immediately. Play. That's the best way you get better is to play, get those growing pains, and build out that year. And in year 2, you go to, playing your best football. I don't see that from Anthony.
So, I'm going to, and Austin, you can go ahead. You can just reply to the comments because, like I said, it's just like I do have a take on Anthony Richardson.
Okay.
Might be a little bit surprising.
So I hope we could get Stroud at number 4. But if we do trade back and we don't get Stroud, for some reason, which Ballard can do whatever. I also like Richardson better than Levis, but I'm a bigger fan of Hooker, obviously. I would take Hooker at number 1, honestly. And that's just, you can call me a homer if you want, but just watch him play all year. I'm a big fan of his, and I'm going to cheer for him no matter where he goes. But yeah, I like Richardson, and I get people saying he's raw, and I get he could be a bust. Any of them could be a bust. But I just like his size, and he has good mobility as well.
Yeah. Yeah, and you know what? I've seen Anthony Richardson, and one thing about it is that with RG3 I think it was completely different because RG3 was playing. I think RG3 is probably closer to a Bryce Young than he was to an Anthony Richardson. If you look at Anthony Richardson in terms of just like the build, the improvements, just everything that he's done, I don't think there's anything that doesn't jump off the table as him being able to, or him showing that he can't progressively, or that he didn't progressively improve as the season went along. Yes, you want to go ahead and just have somebody in there, but remember, Andrew Luck came into a situation where he had to rely on talent and talent alone because he had Bruce Arians. Bruce Arians was great as far as making sure that he put him in the right spots as the offensive coordinator. But once Bruce Arians was gone, you saw the difference. So the thing is, for me, you get somebody like a Shane Steichen, who, mind you, I think the last three quarterbacks that he worked with was Phillip Rivers, Jalen Hurts, and I think there was one more. But the thing is, not only are they all reputable, but they're all guys who have had success when it comes down to what it is that you're looking for in somebody being able to develop a quarterback. Look at Jalen Hurts from his rookie year to this year. And you see a big difference. You see that it's not just about him using his legs, but you see that he can absolutely go out there and make plays with his arms because he's in a situation where it's just like you help be able to groom and mold him properly, but then also you provide him with the pieces around him to be able to do better, which is exactly what's going to happen. But the thing is, you already have pieces in place on this team where if you get Anthony Richardson, I think you're not going to dumb things down. You're not going to do what they did with Lamar in Baltimore, where you have Greg Roman out there just running a bunch of read option plays. People figure it out, and then he's just like, okay, they picked up on us running read options to the left, so now we're going to run it to the right. Like, no, that's not what's going to happen. So the thing, am I saying that we should go and pick him at number 4? Absolutely not. But I'm not opposed to bringing him in if for some reason, like I said, guys end up, trading up and getting taken beforehand. And I absolutely would much rather have Richardson than Will Levis. I want Hendon Hooker over both of them. And I know that he's the Crimson Slayer, but I mean, you can't deny results.
Where was your team at? You keep saying Crimson. You always taking tabs at Crimson. Where were your team at?
Oh no, my team was being terrible.
You basically called Bryce a bum, and
I did not say Bryce was a bum.
You said that he was more comparable to RG3 than Anthony. I was like, no, he's
no. Okay, so let me correct that in terms of physical attributes.
Okay, I got you.
Because remember, Bryce Young is a smaller frame that has that mobility. RG3 was a guy that was super athletic, that was strong, but was still kind of on the thinner side, especially for his position. Whereas you have Anthony Richardson, right? Where Anthony Richardson, I'm gonna say he's built like baby Cam Newton.
Right, yeah, that's true. He had built
and
220, something like that.
Yeah, and I think he's what, about 6'3", 220?
Yeah, he's pretty big.
But if you see him with his passing and you see him right now, it's just like you'll see it just be like there's no way that this guy is getting tackled by anybody. So I mean, for me, I think it's just like that's also going to play a role because once again, if Bryce Young was Anthony Richardson's size, Bryce Young would be a consensus number 1. And I think that everybody would be trying to trade up for him right now. But the only reason why Bryce Young is in the position that he's in right now is because of the fact that he's a smaller QB. And yeah, you could go with the Russell Wilson thing, but even Russell Wilson has the size on him to be able to do that. Whereas, Bryce Young is built more like Devontae Smith than anything else.
That's a great comparison. But yeah, you're right. I see the comparison for as a body size. He would have to get his weight up, which I've seen. I've seen reports on him adding 20 more pounds, so that could have helped
Yeah.
him.
Yeah, they said they're trying to get him up to 210. So that way it'll be a little bit more reasonable, a little bit more realistic to go ahead and just have them up there. Because like I said, there's nothing right now that's a knock on Bryce Young other than his physical attributes. That's literally the only thing. But
Well, see,
with that,
I do get the part. I do get the part with the shortness. Well, I mean, Kyler Murray's short too. And he's probably the shortest quarterback in the NFL right now.
yeah.
I think,
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
Is he 5'8"?
He's about 5'9", 5'10" maybe.
Yeah, he's pretty. Yeah, and he's athletic. So, I mean, yeah, I get the comparison though.
Yeah. So then moving on now, and like I said, we'll ask Austin, and well, actually everybody will talk about it. But because we see that D'Amico Ryans and Sean Payton were literally both today, and
Hmm.
mind you, D'Amico Ryans is literally coming off of that loss to the loss to the Eagles. Why have the Colts taken so long up till now to get their guy? And that's for Austin.
So I think it is partly because Jim is so high on Jeff Saturday.
Yeah.
But also Chris Ballard said in his interview, they're going to cast a wide net. They're going to bring in a lot of different people. It's going to take a while. It might be mid-February. He said that in his interview or his
Okay.
conference. So I think they're doing a good job bringing a lot of people in, and a lot of people are making fun of that. But I think it should lead to hiring the right guy. Like I get needing to get somebody in there so they can figure out a plan for the future, but also get taking your time and getting the right guy in there.
Okay. Yeah. And I think that is the case. They sound like they're being very, very cautious. But what's your take on it, Josh?
Yeah, I want to piggyback on what Austin said. I mean, they don't want to have to rush this process and get in their guy. I mean, who knew that a guy could have been a guy that was just play Sunday, just coach Sunday, like Bill Callahan. They was waiting on to interview him this week. I think as a Wednesday tomorrow.
Yeah.
I think so.
Wednesday
And then
tomorrow.
they're supposed to be interviewing Eagles. They was flying out to Philadelphia to interview the Eagles OC. So why not interview every guy that you can before picking that guy?
Mhm.
I mean, me personally, I'm okay with this because they're being thorough with it. They're not rushing it. Who's to say that they may have rushed the Josh McDaniel hire? In 2018.
Yeah,
2018.
2017, 2018, yeah.
They rushed their hire, and then he ended up backing out, and then they had to rush to get Frank Wright. So why not take their time and interview every candidate possible? The Giants, DC. I think they interviewed their OC. They interviewed the Broncos, DC. I mean, just interviewed every single body that's available. I mean, even the Chiefs OC. I mean, he could get the job. Who knows? Austin is right. There's an issue right now for as with the higher ups because we all see Irsay is high on Jeff as the main guy, and allegedly or supposedly he's the front runner. But they want to make sure that every guy is being interviewed, a second interview, and they pick the right guy because there's other people in the front office, including Irsay's daughter, that don't agree with that pick. So that's a lot. It's a lot going on. It's not dysfunctional. It's just to make sure that we get the right guy, and could have him for at least 5 to 6 years. So we want to get the right guy going forward, and we're gonna have this issue having picking a quarterback, and having some type of turmoil with the head coach.
Yeah. Yeah, because they did screw the pooch. I mean, I'm gonna say it's like just the whole Jeff Saturday situation happening definitely didn't help. And I we talked about it in groups where you see that Ursay's daughter is more involved in the search. Ballard's very involved in the search. Like they're literally doing it. Like they said that they had Raheem Morris out there last week, and he was out there like they had him all day. And then they said that they were going to be doing similar things with, I think there was another candidate that they were looking at where once again it was like an
Broncos
all-day
DC,
process.
DC.
Yeah, Edgerel Everett, yes.
Yeah.
But and then we'll get to a couple comments because I have to. No, we just have to. So they said they're negotiating the right salary and benefits for Jeff Saturday. They're also trying to nail down an interview date and time for Urban Meyer. And as soon as Todd Downing gets out of jail, he'll be interviewed too. And to that, I say, it was never the Jags, you ignorant. Okay, let's just go with that. Oh, by the way, hey, big shout out to Josh Allen. He's the one guy that I know that is a huge Ohio State University quarterbacks fan. So yes, absolutely. So shout out to Josh. Okay,
I think he's hating. University. I think he's hating because he's afraid that we get the quarterback and we're gonna win in Jacksonville.
All right, that's a bold prediction because I don't know what it is. It's just like for some reason winning in Jacksonville is just And then he says, "Don't you dare." So the thing is, I have to make sure that I talk to him that whenever we talk about the quarterbacks, we're talking about the quarterbacks that are coming out of Ohio State and how much he loves them. So yes.
I mean, he did give up on his quarterback. He did give up on his quarterback during the season.
Oh yeah, so. No, let's not forget they gave up on their quarterback before the season was at the halfway point. So yeah, but then he says 5,480 days, and they said it was 5,480 days since we won our Super Bowl. To which I say, that means that it's officially been 1,097 days since Miles Jack was down.
And they cried about it. They thought it was going to the Super Bowl and win it. But yeah. And they thought
matter of fact, no, I'm off. It's like 1,826 days, 27 because it was a leap year. But yeah. So some milestones there. But I mean, like I said, I think we'll actually end up seeing that we'll get somebody hired, but on the flip side of things, because we talked about Ursay's daughter, we talked about Ballard, but we didn't talk about the elephant in the room. Is Ursay's insistence on having Jeff Saturday in the role possibly slowing down the search?
I don't think so. I don't think so. I think we all knew what would happen. Even asked Ursay how the coaching search will pan out, and he said it's going to be extensive. They're going to go through all the steps, including the Rooney Rule and stuff like that. And I mean, to this point, I mean, it's been Raheem. I mean, the reports say that Jeff Saturday was the runner, but it's been reports saying Raheem Moore's been the front runner. So I doubt it's been just he's been delaying the process.
Yeah, it's. I know, like Ursay, and it's funny because the best way to gauge exactly like where somebody is to see exactly like how they respond. You know that Jim Irsay is always tweeting and everything. There was a guy that did a skit about Jim Irsay and then Chris Ballard doing his coaching search. He said we narrowed it down, and these are the guys that we feel comfortable about. And he's just like, hey, don't forget about Jeff Saturday. And he's just like, what? Why are we doing it? And then he put a laughing, crying emoji. So I think he's a very self-aware owner. He's getting into that space where he's getting a little crazy again. But I mean, I think that we're safe without. We'll be safe with knowing that Jeff Saturday probably won't be the next head coach. He had his chance, but we're all good. So we don't have that to worry about.
No, I mean, and Eric's a businessman. He sometimes like to troll. So yeah,
Yeah, yeah. It's good for the brand because being active and being out there and just doing that, it's just like it's better than just sitting around because no matter what, it's just like you want people to talk. Now the thing is, he's not going for anything like super negative, but the thing is, at the end of the day, it's just like you're a small market team, and everything that you're doing is being overshadowed by all these other teams. So this is the best way to make sure that you're just keeping everybody like, oh, okay, all right, keeping the Colts, I'm gonna say, relevant in these times where it's just like it's easy to fade into the black. So now, updated, updated. Who do we want as head coach?
I saw. Now this is probably like not at all gonna happen, but I saw Raheem Morris head coach, Eric being the offensive coordinator for the
The
Chiefs.
enemy?
Yeah, the offensive coordinator for us, and
wow,
then
that's
the
bad.
Broncos defensive coordinator, our defensive coordinator.
Okay.
I
That's
thought that
that'd
was
be good.
cool. But I also like Callahan. I
Yeah.
something about him and his offense in Cincinnati. I liked it. Yeah.
Okay. And Josh, what about you?
Yeah, I'm going with BC. BC, pretty good, man. We see what he did up there in Cincy for the past 3 years.
Yeah.
I mean, I just like. I mean, that's a new voice. He's a young guy. Uh, we're gonna pair him with a young quarterback, and we see what he did with Joe Burrow. Not it wasn't not saying that Joe Burrow needed the help. He's been talented since LSU, who's also a Ohio State quarterback too. Josh Allen wants to know that too. And he done well with Joe Burrow. He coached him up nicely. I mean, the offense looked really good. They was 3 months away from headed to Super Bowl. Things
Mhm.
happened. Um, but I mean, I also like Raheem Morris. I mean, the guy had his only coaching job at 32 years old, and now he's at 46, and he haven't had a job yet since then. He's been coaching defense in Atlanta, um,
He coached the
and now
offense
with the
too. Yeah.
Rams, and and offense. He coaches offense as well, so he's not a stranger to that. He can coach both sides. And I just it just felt good that give him a chance, being that they interviewed him for about 12 hours this past weekend.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It was 12 hours.
So
Yep.
they 12 hours, exactly 12 hours this past weekend. So that they're not wasting his time. I feel like he would be the guy. I think in a couple of weeks, even maybe at the end of the week, if they just say forget it, the Eagles guy, and just go ahead and announce him because he probably more. Even though I won't Callahan, but I think they love Raheem Morris.
I think so too. I think they do. I think also once again, I think it's they're not overlooking Shane Steichen because
Right.
I mean, like I said, it's just like he has a resume that shows that when it comes to quarterbacks, it's just like he's the guy that you absolutely want to go with, and with the fact that you're going with a young QB this year, I think it's just like that's not being overlooked as yeah, we're gonna have to get somebody in who's going to just do well with that. Like he's going to be somebody who you want to have around a rookie QB, and also designing a game plan that's not going to be so quarterback reliant. It's like yes, it's a passing league, but I mean, you can also design a game plan that makes it so that it's just like the run and pass are equally as effective.
I do have a question with that about that though. Do you, do you think just like I feel like this is gonna be another Ben Johnson situation with Steichen, um, or is it just going back, especially if they win the Super Bowl. But even if they don't, I think Nick Sirianni will force him to stay because of the turmoil that because earlier in the year we faced Philly and they got that win and he was so very vocal about how Indy treated Frank Wright. I just got a feeling that he might ask him to stay and not take that opportunity to be our head coach, given what happened with Frank Wright.
Yeah. But you know what? It's so yeah, you can do that, but at the same time, it's like you can continue to work through it. Let's just say next year the Eagles' offense just completely falls off and he chose to stick around. He's going to be the fall guy. You saw how many people this year. I mean, the Cowboys got rid of Kellen Moore for good reason, and I'm glad because that means that he's definitely not going to be on a list of head coaching candidates. But I feel like we talked about this already, Josue, because I know that you wanted Kellen Moore previously.
It wasn't a main guy, but it was a guy to throw in the hat. Like the guy, the OC from the Bills. I wouldn't have been against him
Yeah,
either.
yeah, true, and he ended up being a dud too. But the but you know, like talking about what we've dealt with before, it's just like Sirianni can have an issue with it, but at the same time, getting a head coaching job, especially in this league, like if you're offered a head coaching job in, let's just say, what are just awful teams right now? If you're offered a head coaching job with an awful team, like let's just say offer one with the Browns, right? You got talent, but it's just like there's really no direction. There's really nothing there. Like, yeah, you got Deshaun Watson. Like, you have teams that are actually not doing well at all. But the thing is, it's just like if you know that you can walk into a situation where you actually have a pretty decent structure set up, and maybe you just need like an off season or just like you need a good free agency and a good draft, and you're good, then that's fine. I mean, Sirianni has had that team for 3 years. They had 4-12 the first year. The next year, I think last year they went 9-8, and then this year they went 14-3. And it's arguable that they would have been 16-1 had Jalen Hurts not gotten hurt. So I mean, if you're coming from somewhere, you're coming from a place where you know for a fact that incrementally, it's just like these teams can do well. Because I don't think that there's going to be any super. There's not going to be any super aggressive goals that need to be met. I think that they are going to say, yes, you do need to do A, B, and C. This is what we're looking for. Get our guys in. But I don't think that they're going to go and say, you know what, we need to be 11-6, and we need to make a playoff bid in the first year. Like that's why I think that's why this coaching search has been taking as long as it has been. But that's just
and I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it taking as long as it could. I mean, even if it's at the end of February, as long as they get that guy after all this, these interviews, and they do their deliberation, and they pick the right guy.
Yeah. Yeah, it's honestly, I just think it's going to boil down to potentially going with Steichen or Raheem Morris.
So not Bengals, the Bengals OC.
I'd be cool with Callahan, but I think Raheem Morris has the experience, and I think he has that charisma and accountability that you look for in a coach. And I think that Steichen's resume for what he's been able to do with quarterbacks is actually like a pretty good thing. The one thing that I will say is that Peyton Manning advocating for Brian Callahan is probably it just has him in the fold as much as it is. So I think those three is what it's going to boil down to. However, Steichen and Raheem Morris are the two that I definitely will be like, yes, absolutely, that sounds great. Let's get it done. So yeah, but that's just where we're at. And then in the meantime, I think we pretty much covered everything that we came to cover.
Frank Reich got a head coaching job.
Yeah, Frank Reich got it. I thought that was broken. That was broken last week, though, wasn't it? Like I think we talked about that when it happened.
He got hired for a weekend.
Yeah, no, over the weekend.
Like towards the end of the week, he got hired. He didn't get hired on Tuesday last week.
Oh, okay. Well, Frank Reich got hired by the Carolina Panthers, which to me, fantastic. I mean, I'm more than happy for him. I know there was a little bit of controversy with Steve Wilkes, but I mean, hey, good luck to Frank Reich. I mean, as a person, fantastic person. Love him for what he talks about with his faith. From a coaching perspective, Good luck, Carolina. Yeah, we will be playing them. Yeah. So that's going to be a game that's top billing. That might even be like a Thursday night game or something. So we'll see.
We should go. We should go.
It's good.
That's gonna be the one. That's gonna be the one.
Yeah,
Okay.
let's do it.
All
Let's
right.
do it.
All right, that's fair. All right. So yeah. So in the meantime, we are wrapping up. We will be back next week. Remember, we're here every Tuesday, 9:30 Eastern, 8:30 Central, 7:30 Mountain, 6:30 Pacific, and all that good stuff. 3:30 in Hawaii. I don't know, whatever. But either way, guys, let the people know where to find you on social media.
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at CookieAustin2.
Okay. At Cookie Austin 2. All right. Oh, see, look, no reaction.
You find me. You find me at Kentucky Pro Day watching Will Levis.
I'm gonna remove you now. Just gonna. Oh, Josh is having technical difficulties. Oh, there he is. There he is. Okay, he's back. He was having technical difficulties for a second. You can find me at CJ Colts Fan. Make sure that you're following us on Twitter at YDKJAC Podcast, at YDK Basketball, and at YDKJAC Baseball. And if you follow at Josh at YDK Basketball, you'll be able to see that based on some recent things that happened over the weekend, Josh is now not watching basketball anymore.
I have retired in a basketball fan and the sports. I watch college, but I'm not watching the NBA professional sports anymore. I'm
Fair.
done.
That's fair. That's fair. You know what? And that's fine. That's fine. We won't hold it against you, Josh.
I'm retired.
Even though LeBron was out there crying like he was in a 90s R&B video.
I was too.
Getting emotional like Carl Thomas.
I was too, because it was a bunch of BS. It's like there's a bunch of BS in Kansas City this weekend. Everybody has been vocal about that as well. It was a horrible officiating game against Cincy and KC.
Fair. Okay, that's fair. All right. Well, listen, people, you have a great weekend. We will be seeing you soon. Yeah, go ahead and watch all the Pro Bowl festivities and all that other good stuff. And like I said, and we will be back next Tuesday. And remember, if anything else, Sam loves Jalen Ramsey.